Guys, the patrons have spoken. Jonathan Taylor is on the block. We've got a 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.75 for the tight ends, start 10. Scott, are you going Jonathan Taylor and T. Higgins or James Cook and Jalen Waddle? Go ahead.
I'm going to lean the Jonathan Taylor, T. Higgins side here, probably just because I think there's a bias against one player on the open market most of the time, if not all of the dynasty year, and it's James Cook. So I'd rather have the Higgins versus Waddle side, unless you're on a place where Jonathan Taylor's value is already seen as just James Cook and he doesn't matter. Right. They're all replaceable. Then obviously I'd take the Waddle side because that's probably the most valuable piece in the trade. But if I'm picking who I would rather carry into the season, who has a better name, I think with the right start or the right situation, you might be able to get some legitimate running back value. It would be Jonathan Taylor. It's never going to be James Cook. And I don't hate T. Higgins. Whether you think he's good or not, he's going to be in a decent situation, and you know there's going to be a window for him. So I'll lean the Taylor and Higgins side here.
Shane, where are you going on this, man? Again, it's a 12-team flex, start 10.
There is going to be a window for Higgins, mostly because people are stupid. Higgins has gotten worse every year of his career in fantasy football. Significantly worse. My dude started out as a 15-point per game player and is down to 11-point per game player last year. That's like definition of average. So Jalen Waddle by about a kabillion over T. Higgins. Actual math number. Look it up on the Googles. John Taylor and James Cook, I actually think they just cancel each other out. James Cook has some touchdown regression coming, or at least he should, because that's how regression works in theory, right? So he should have some more touchdowns next year. So it's really like, for me, John Taylor, James Cook cancel each other out, and then it's easily Jalen Waddle over T. Higgins. Now, you will have next year when T. Higgins is a free agent and about to sign somewhere, and he's going to be the number one wide receiver on some offense, that you definitely will have a time where you'll be able to sell high on it.
So let's go to a shallow format here. Shane, we'll start with you. It's a 10-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9. So are you going Jonathan Taylor in a 26 second or 225 first? We'll call them projected mid-late. Go ahead.
Give me the picks. You're giving me 2 first-round picks for a running back, and I don't care. I got to throw in a second for a non-elite running back. I'm not giving up Brees, Bijan, CMC. Who's the other one we always name? Gibbs. Those are the dudes that, you know, if you throw 2 first at me, excuse me, I might pass on, but John Taylor, you could have him. You take his whole family for 2 firsts from me. Like, just take them all.
Scott, even in this shallow format, are you still going the 2 first too, even though they could be playoff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to do an analysis of what does it mean to get the first. Are they just thrown around where you can't get anything usable? Even if I have 5 of them, am I not being able to get anything that's an upgrade? If that's the case, there could be a world where Jonathan Taylor is the best running back you can buy, and those firsts are largely useless to the league. In that case, though, we're 25 firsts. It does feel like this is probably a class where you want to have some 25 first, just simply whether you think next year's running back class is going to be 3 or 4 fresh, young, new Jonathan Taylors.
Right.
Other people are going to think it. So think like how you viewed Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson this year, but like better and more of them. The community will like that. We will be at a point where, Shane, are we finally going to usher out the Zeke Elliott's and the Derrick Henrys and the Alvin Kamaras and Joe Mixon's? And those guys are probably going to hang on, but I do think we are going to hit a point where the community is going to start coming back to running backs in next year's classes is perfect. So even if you need running back, if Jonathan Taylor was guaranteed to actually be a difference maker, even in a 10x9, then sure, but I think that's 50-50. So I don't want to blow the 2 first today in July on him.
Shane, what are your overall thoughts on JT? Is he a quote-unquote buy? We don't use that B word on this show.
I don't even understand the question. I'll do like all the other content creators out there. And you know what? That's not true. It's not all of them. A significant portion of them. Yeah, sure. He's a buy. He's a buy low or a sell high. One of the two. And I'm not going to tell you how to do either. He's a player. Now, if I can get him for a single first, he's probably a running back that I'm okay spending that on. I will say that. He's in that, definitely in that range, which is for us, or at least for me, I think is a lot of commitment. That's a lot more commitment than I'm willing to offer a lot of other running backs in my life. So I'd be willing to give him a single first, give up a single first to make him my anchor back.
I was just going to say last year, 169 opportunities for Taylor. He ranked 48th in touchdown adjusted efficiency. So he wasn't good. Zach Moss was actually 45th on more opportunities. Zach Moss had a higher target rate. So I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor is not good, but the idea that because he was a great prospect that we should just continue to throw him in, he could be a 20 point per game running back just because he did it 3 years ago, probably not a good bet. He's trending downward, which you would expect for a fifth year running back, yet people are drafting him as RB5, RB4, RB6, just thinking he's going to repeat what he did 3 years ago.
Shane, are you going Gus Edwards and Brandon Ayuk or Jonathan Taylor? And let's assume a 12-team Superflex start 10.
So basically a first and a running back. So the absolute definition of the process. So yeah, trust the process, bro. See you later, Mr. Taylor. I don't even like Gus Edwards. I don't even know if that dude's going to matter what I think of Gus Edwards. It's the process deal. I'm making it.
Scott?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was going to ask Shane, if you remove Gus Edwards, are you still taking the Ayuk for Jonathan Taylor just to get out of the running back purgatory or the running back dead zone that nobody else wants? But given you might be able to find a running back for free because now you have probably a roster spot if you wanted to move Ayuk for a first, it's the same equivalent.
Ayuk is kind of in that wide receiver dead zone, that wide receiver 13 through 26, that big congested lump of wide receivers that's in there. So it's almost like just trading my one piece that I can't do anything with for another piece that I can't do anything with, but maybe I have a need. And that's one of the times I'll be okay, you know, if Brandon Ayuk is excess, move him off for something that I can actually need or use.
All right, so let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And guys, let's continue this conversation with our patrons in the Discord.